All right, what's up everybody? I'm gonna be messing around here in the garage, and my new MO is to set the camera up and do what I do. So I'm working on the Bronco here, almost called a Raptor, working on the Bronco. What I did yesterday was I removed and coated the front two wheels. In between that, I polished and coated the glass and also coated the top. And so what my plan here today, I plan on just starting this at 10 a.m., but it's like 3 p.m. So I'm going to remove the rear wheels and work on those. So at least do one with you. I want to coat the front and rear bumpers and the front grille. And then maybe next week, I'll actually polish and coat the paint. So I got all the accessories done. And then I'll do the finish work and do the finish the paint last. Just kind of break it up because I do need to bring the Raptor in here and get that set up. So I've got it jacked up on the pumpkin, but it looks like I need to come up a little bit higher. The jack, it's a 3-ton jack, so it shouldn't be a problem. But this jack is hot garbage, man. I should learn my lesson. Don't just trust what people tell you on the internet because they don't know anything. Oh man, you should get the Pro Eagle, it's the best. And I didn't even think about it. I just said, well, I had 3 or 4 comments that told me that, and so I just bought it. Not good. So I'm gonna talk to AC Hydraulic and get a 3-ton jack. That's actually a good one. So that's my plan. Before I do that, let's put this is the tire rack. Gonna come up a little bit higher still. I'm getting this thing figured out, how to use it. You know, when you're dealing with 40s, 40-inch wheels and tires, I mean, you're talking about a big undertaking here for this little sucker. But without it, I would need 3 people to help me get the wheel on and off. With it, it makes it a much easier experience. So what I want to do here today is get the rear wheels cleaned, coated, tires cleaned and denibbed, and then I'm going to coat the rear suspension, so wipe that down. I'm going to coat the calipers, so check this out. So now I can just wiggle this sucker off and roll it off. Isn't that nice? I think it's worth every penny. All right, so first thing I want to do, I'm going to use the slat wall here. Let's see if this is okay. I take the center cap out here. And I think I'm going to do this a little different than I did the front. Get this out of the way. So we've got mineral spirits here. A lot of you were asking me to show you the mineral spirits, how that worked. We got some denibbers. And we're gonna clean the tire first. So I'm gonna move my buckets because we're gonna move up and down this wall here. Because this tire's too big to use rollers. So I'm gonna clean the tires, then clean the wheels. This is what I'm doing a little bit differently than the front. Because on the front, I had cleaned the wheels. No, I cleaned the wheels, coated the wheels, then did the tires. But I was getting a lot of overspray on them of mineral spirits. So this time I'm gonna do a little differently. I'm gonna do the tires first. Then I'm gonna coat the wheels. Then I'm gonna denib. Then I'm gonna put the second coat on the wheels. That's my plan. So let's do it that way. So the front side of the tires I've already done this once. So this is the second cleanup. My intention, I'm not going to dress these tires. So I got a race glaze brush, some Home Depot mineral spirits, and put it on the brush, and then go like this. And then you take the towel and wipe it off. Good news is I found somebody who's going to lend me their garage here. It's only a mile down the road. So I'm going to watch over their house, and they're only here like, you know, every once in a while. So we're going to trade services. I'm going to watch after their house, use their garage when they're not here. It's going to be freaking sweet. And so that way I can keep my Evo. I've got somewhere to store the cars when not in use, which is most of the time for me. So I'll do this to the tires every once in a while. Built hammer or the touchless will be my normal cleanup, like my regular maintenance. A little bit of paint there. So this process will help them, keep them from browning so much. I feel like the luxury, so for those of you who are not in the detailing business, the luxury aspect, if you're fortunate enough to have a couple of different vehicles, so you can, you know, let your car sit while working on it, you do a much better job if you don't try to do it all in one sitting, you know, in one weekend. So you can spread it out. So that's all cleaned up. I can put this away for now. Since this is each wheel is a multi-hour process. And so now, conveniently, I have CarPro Eraser right here. So if I'm doing any kind of cleaning like this, where the wheel has got some dirt on it, I like to use Eraser over panel wipe. This has quite a bit more lubricative properties. Chase, what do you got, buddy? And then I like to spray the face and the barrel. So we realized when we were making the last video that you can very clearly see the back of the wheels. So I gotta denib the back as well, which is okay for me right now because of the limited mileage that I'm putting on my cars. These tires are gonna last quite a while, but hopefully in the future, if I'm able to drive around wherever I wanna go and I start putting some serious miles on things, I'm gonna have to hire somebody to do my denibbing for me because it's gonna become a full-time job. I actually enjoy just sitting down, doing this detail work, as long as I don't feel rushed. I've got a little bit of a deadline here on this project because I've got to get the Raptor in here and swap the wheels on that because I got a guy coming to pick up the TEs on Friday. So I want to get these rear wheels done and coated. Because I've got the other project to get moving on. These bead locks, these are real bead locks, unlike the Raptor. These are actual, it's an actual bead lock ring. So before I go do any sort of, I don't know that I'm gonna even call it serious off-roading, but before I go on any kind of longer term off-roading stuff, and for you off-road guys that are watching this, if there are a few of you, that aren't detailers that are yelling at me for putting all this work in. I'm telling you, if you spend the time to clean up and prepare your off-road vehicle, coat it, take the wheels off, coat the wheels, coat the suspension components, all this stuff that I'm doing, it makes your maintenance in between much easier, much more enjoyable. I'm telling you, there's nothing worse to me than washing a car that isn't properly protected. And it just makes the experience, makes it take twice as long, and maybe not twice as long, but considerably longer and then less enjoyable. Okay, so this is prepped. This is a satin black finish that I chose. So it's not matte, but it's not glossy. So it should hold up a little better. Obviously I can't polish this wheel, but these are forged aluminum. Same thing with the center cap from Innovate. So get this prepped as well. And so now I'm ready to coat. I like that process better, is that I clean the tires first. By the way, when you're using mineral spirits, you're never going to get the tire totally perfectly clean. Same thing when you're using, a wheel and tire cleaner. Now, because I put in this prep work of mineral spirits, denibbing, all of this, now if I wash this regularly and I maintain it, so if I wash it, let's say every other week, and I do some real crevice work and just keep it maintained, then I'm going to get less of this sort of dirty yellowing and stuff, especially if I do, some off-road type stuff. Doing the regular maintenance and the regular washing makes this process so much easier in the future. Okay, so let me grab some gloves and my coating. All right, so for this part, I prefer the higher pile. I call them wax removal towels. We need to rename these. But these higher pile towels I like better for wheels. Then these are SAS, gloves from SAS. I need to get them in the store because they're not super reliable. I've gotten some knockoff jank from Amazon that aren't correct. And so these have like a little hex pattern to them. And then I'm using Armor wheel coating. This here. I think this bottle is about empty. I don't like bottles that aren't clear, then I can't see in them. But I think, some products aren't stable in light. Let's see if we got any left in here. Oh, and I always like to do the barrel first. It just feels right. Okay. Well, there was some coating left and I just sprayed all over the place. Not ideal. Yeah, it's about toast. So when it comes to coatings and detailing in general, so I'm sure some of you have noticed this over the years, and I have access to pretty much everything, all right? So I have sort of an infinite detailing budget, because it's not that much money to, buy detailing stuff, especially products. So you don't see me jumping around a lot. Like I don't jump around from product to product. I'm looking for something that works really well. I'm always got my eye open for something that might be a little bit better. But coatings are one of those things I see people jumping around so much. There hasn't been any remarkable change in technology. They're still all made of pretty much the same stuff. Let me just take this off here. This here. By the way, this stuff is reasonably forgiving. Yeah, that's it. Meaning that I've got plenty of time to work with it. But like in this case, wheel coating, I wasn't in love with Deluxe Gliss, but it was okay. It worked reasonably well. And so I went and, you know, and it was always had my eye open for a new wheel coating. But this whole desire, especially those of you that maybe don't have infinite budgets for detailing supplies like I might, you gotta be careful running around, jumping around all over the place. Let me see, I forget, does this have a dropper? Yeah, it does. Okay, I wasn't sure if I had put that on or not. So buy this wheel coating and just stick with it. This wheel coating is freaking great. Same thing, CSL XO. Everybody's always looking for the new hot thing. Man, our just coating is blah, 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 blah. Well, I mean, if it ain't broken and there isn't something that is, you know, remarkably better, then just stick with it. Now, this is the tricky thing, because so if you're a person who gets positional and you get stuck on something, I'm going to use this wax forever and I'm never changing, that can be problematic. So if you know that you're not one to, if you're a jump arounder type, then try to jump around less. If you're a, I'm just going to stick to the old 1950s prospect or process, maybe you do need to make a change. But this is why I think Obsessed Garage exists, is I feel like I have a good balance of tech and then rational. Like, this is the process, let's stick with the process and not quibble over and chase. You know, I used to do this investing, like when I invested people's money, and try to talk people out of chasing the hot, we used to call it the hot dot. You know, chase the next dot on the screen. We're going to avoid that. And so I think you're going to be better served in your detailing process if you do the same thing. Let's avoid chasing the hot dot. I don't get that with all detailing products, but with coatings, people just have a real tendency to jump around too much. Pros are the worst at it. They jump around more than anybody. Now, if I'm a pro, I'm going to try different coatings and try different things and figure out which I like the most. But once you get it, shoot, a lot of details will jump around from company to company. That's crazy. So I'm going to do the beadlock part first here. So when you're doing wheels, it's best to stay organized. So in this case, I started in the top middle, and I'm going to work my way around. If you're using a roller, when you're rolling the wheel, then you want to start on something like the valve stem or something like that, if you know if the wheel is turning. The other reason why I like to do, other than possibly getting a little bit of extra protection, the main reason why I like to do 2 coats on my wheels is wheels are pretty easy to miss a spot. Now hopefully I'm not missing any spots, but because of the intricacies of the spokes and everything, you might miss a little section here or there. And so the odds of you nailing the whole wheel on 2 coats is much better. That's why I like to do 2 coats on wheels, and then hopefully, you know, your wheels are taking a beating, so hopefully getting the product on there with 2 coats will also help with that. So this is when I'm excited to finally have some stability here in this house. This is my favorite kind of video to make. Just set up the camera, I've got all my equipment, you know, I've got it set up, I've got the batteries charged and ready, and I just grab them and go. The camera's sort of always sitting on the tripod, and I can just set it up and make a long form video garage hang with you. And so be prepared, because I'm going to do a lot more of this and just talk you through what I'm using, why I'm using it, what process I'm doing, and talk through life and philosophy. And this is the original reason I started the channel, was to create this therapeutic environment where I get to hang out with my friends, but I don't have the baggage of having my friends here with me. I would much rather keep you at arm's length. It's much less exhausting as a natural introvert. I'm sure many of you can relate to that. So I get all the fruits of the interaction with you without all the baggage. And that's another reason why I've decided, I feel like I've gotten all that I can get out of the comments. So I'm going to stay out of that for the future of this. I did it for 10 years, and now I'm going to spend my time here in the garage on camera with you. Less online interacting with, because most of you don't interact with me. Almost all of you don't interact with me that way anyway. You'll come and visit, you'll send me an email, much more long form conversation than the generally passive aggressive commenter. And so I think I'm going to I know I'm going to forego that for now into the future. And I'm just going to do what I do best, which is to sit on a stool, do some work, and then have you guys pull up a stool next to me. I hope you're okay with that, because that's what I'm going to do. This beadlock part is the hardest part to get in here and level out. I find that if I get a little bit of over, or I push a little bit onto the tire, it doesn't hold up on the tire anyway, so it's not really a problem. Okay, so now let's do the inner barrel here, making sure I work around the valve stem since I can't actually see that part. So I think in the next few days, I'm going to get the lease process started on the villages. And so I'm going to become a local, I don't know what you want to call it, local designer. And it's a much different business than the business that I'm in now. It'll be a much different relationship than the relationship I have with you. It's going to be it's not going to take away, it's just going to be simply additive, and it's going to free me up or create the ability to really be able to capture an amazing amount of garages on film, on video, and then share all different kinds of colors and styles, and then it's going to help me develop more products. And so I'm really excited about this next chapter. It also is the ability to take, very likely not in the beginning, but long term will take some of the pressure off of me to generate everything. Because if we have a local design studio with salespeople, it'll be and I understand brick and mortar is not the way of the future. But in this town, it's a very unique place. For example, they have the highest readership and I think one of the largest subscriber bases for the local newspaper than anywhere else in the world, or at least in the country. And so there is a difference to this, how this place operates. And I think it's a prime opportunity also because the demographic is changing. So we're going from people that, you know, were my grandparents to now my parents are moving here. And then the generation, now my parents are young, they were young parents. And so I'm only a half a generation away from the vast majority of the people that are going to be moving here. So many of you that are watching this is going to be many of, you know, the previous generation wasn't into the stuff that we're into as much. You know, audio, video, cars, the type of cars that we're into, you know, the style of things that we're into. And so generationally, this place is turning over and they've committed. I'm hoping to go out in the Raptor. I'll bring my camera with me and show you. I'm going to go do some off-roading back here and show you the roughly 20-year ramp of property that they've purchased to develop. And so all of those people that are going to be moving here, it's a completely different demographic shift from what has been here, you know, the last 20 years or 30 years that they've been catering to retirees. So it's still going to be a niche inside of this place, but there is a large enough amount of people where the demographic is big enough, or not the demographic, but the population is big enough for me to build what it is I'm talking about building. And I may be wrong, but my gut is usually pretty accurate. And so then you, as the national, international viewer, are going to get more examples as well as more product development. So I'm going to be building and creating and finding other products that, you know, may tickle your fancy, you know, that may be something that I hadn't discovered yet, that maybe you have an interest in. Okay, so I got to set this aside. So we'll let that set up here for an hour or so while I take the rest of the nibs off of this tire. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Yeah, let's stay on the tire here, and then we'll do the suspension. Wow, that suspension's sick. So let's stay up close and then I'll back up. So I'm gonna throw this away. This is junk. So I have 3 tools. One is this. This is Knippick's, and I'll have these in the stores too soon. 7823125. And this one you can see has a 45, or actually that's closer to a 60-degree bend to it. And then this is a 7803125, and this is like a 30-degree tilt. And these are flush cut. The way you can tell it's flush cut is if the jaws are flat on the bottom, right here. So I want a flush cut type. So there's no, like, you know, point. It's a flat, and then you know, the blade. And then the other thing I have is a razor blade, because the razor blade is still much faster than these are. So I'll just set the razor blade right here, and then come up a bit, and I'm just kind of snipping these nibs. Must have just been ones that I missed. So I find that the 60-degree one works best on these ones up here inside of the tread. And so what I'm doing is I'm cutting all the nibs from here up to the very first row of nibs on the side of the tread. I mean, just a choice that I made. And so I already did most of this tire, but it was something I hadn't finished. So we're going to finish the front, and then because you can see all the nibs, you can see all of them. From the inside, I'm going to cut the other side as well. This is one of those things that it's a complete waste of time, is ridiculous. I find it to be rather therapeutic, not hurting anybody. But in order to do this on a truck, you got to be living a pretty charmed life to have the time to do this. So I wouldn't hold it against you if you didn't go to this level, unless, you know, if you're a one car household. I mean, that one car or two cars, one for each, you know, husband and wife. You should have plenty of room in your life to do some denibbing. So tomorrow, our first iteration of our new closet system shows up. So the Aspire closets by Destination Obsessed Garage are about to level up, and I'm excited. We're going to do the install, and I'm excited to critique and be able to develop it. So I'm going to be able to make changes on the fly. And then Jared here is local. Mark is from Kansas City, so he's flying in as well. And the two of them have tons of expertise on cabinet making, and closet systems. So we're going to really be able to develop something special, I think. Okay. Here. So all I got left is this little section. Yeah, I mean, I prefer the 30 degree for most of these. It's the one in between the treads, the 90 or the 60 degree works better. But denibbing is a life choice. It's a lifestyle. It's not for everyone. All right, let me back the camera up here. Let me back the tire up here. I'll back the camera up so we can work on the backside together. So we didn't do, I gotta get with Rusty here. Uh-oh. What did I do with my razor blade that I just leave it on the tire? Still there? Yep, still there. Shoot. Oh, found one nib I missed. Two nibs. Three nibs. How did I miss so many? So, I think Inside the Hex leveled up this year. My guys made me raise the price on Hex Plus because we're frickin' losing our shirt on the free shipping. So we had to make some adjustments on it. So sorry about that price increase for Hex Plus, but it was kind of necessary. So I'm going to leave all these and do these with the cutters afterwards. But all these ones on the face, it's way faster and more efficient to just use this razor blade. But the reason why I say it leveled up, Rusty and I have been doing a podcast called Figuring Out Mentorship. I think we've done 4 episodes. We need to sit down and do episode 5 this week because I had a Kate's volleyball tournament. I couldn't get back in time to record the episode. But we've been talking a lot more about business. I also think in removing the comments from my process, I think I'll have a little bit more clarity, thinking a little bit more in the future than in the past, what's happened. And so I think it's going to help keep my head clearer. I mean, my role is to live in the darn clouds. That's part of the reason why I decided to ratchet back and simplify, do this little house, make it really dense and awesome. I'm about to write the check here to pay off the mortgage, so I'll have no personal debt. I don't have any car payments. I don't have any mortgage payments. The only payment I have is a giant payroll nut and the building. So I'm kind of setting myself up personally to be prepared to take on this next step, which is to provide you with more videos, more content, as well as building out the next company, which is the Obsessed Villages, Obsessed Home, Obsessed Garage here locally. The other disadvantage to using this is that your finger and thumb start to hurt after a while, especially as many nibs as there are on this sucker. So that's why I'll kind of switch back and forth between the little cutters and the razor blade. So yeah, so if you're not a member of Inside the Hex, I would urge you to consider it, especially if you're a young man. This is and if you value any of what I say, I think Inside the Hex is the best place for me to kind of really dig deep. It's a bit of a process here, but again, if you stay organized, it feels pretty good to work through it. Even though I am doing the back side of the wheel here. If you're thinking, man, this guy is freaking ridiculous to do this on the back, especially as many nibs are on these mud terrains here, then I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you're just intrigued by the crazy. Maybe you aspire to the crazy. Either way, it's all good. It's all okay. All right, so this is going to take me some time. I'm going to start my stopwatch. So it'll be however much time we just spent together, plus that time. So let me go grab my let me go grab my phone. The only way I can get through this is to watch something on TV or watch something on YouTube. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll come back to you when I'm done and let you know how long this took. All right, it took me 23 minutes. That's not too bad. So you figure it probably took me, I guess it probably takes, if it took 23 minutes to do that, it probably took me about 40 minutes to do in total between, oh shoot, this thing is already hard. Need a new one. It took about 40 minutes in total to denib each wheel. 40 minutes times 4 is 160 minutes. That's 2 hours and 40 minutes. That's a lot. That's a commitment. All right, so I'm gonna do my second coat of coating on here. Do the barrel first. All right, it took me 23 minutes. That's not too bad. So you figure it probably took me, I guess it probably takes, if it took 23 minutes to do that, it probably took me about 40 minutes to do in total between, oh shoot, this thing is already hard. Need a new one. It took about 40 minutes in total to denib each wheel. 40 minutes times 4 is 160 minutes. That's 2 hours and 40 minutes. That's a lot. That's a commitment. All right, so I'm gonna do my second coat of coating on here. Do the barrel first. So that gave me probably not enough curing time for the second coat, but I've never had a problem with timing. The only thing that I want to try to avoid is getting them wet. I don't think it's going to rain, so what I'd like to do is pull this thing out. So what I may do is just leave it in the garage tonight, pull it out tomorrow. I need to get everything out of the garage because I'm going to fill it up with all my closet stuff. All that's coming tomorrow. We're going to dig into the install. So you figure each corner of this wheel, let's say it takes me an hour and a half each. So you're at 6 hours worth of work for just the wheels and suspension. That's a lot. That's committed. So in between this, what I think I'm going to do, so I'm going to video this process of this wheel with you, and then I'll probably bail on you and just go turn something on TV. I find that helps me when I'm sort of engaged passively in something else, whether it's making a video with you or it's, you know, watching something specifically. I just enjoy that. The process of doing and improving something while also, I guess you can say, being somewhat entertained. So I need to figure out what golf cart I'm going to buy. I was going to get a UMAX Rally 2x2. I'm not sure which one I'm going to end up with. That was a Yamaha. Sounds like somebody's out in the parking lot, out in the driveway. This. I'm telling you, this will improve our process going forward. It'll improve the cleaning speed at which cleaning and the exactly how clean things can get. Make it easier to clean. Will also improve the longevity of the finish. These rather, in the world of cars, these wheels weren't that expensive. I think they were like $5,000 a set. So certainly not cheap, but in the world of off-roading, they were expensive, but they aren't HREs. I really like these wheels though. I made a good job picking these. George at APG said he might start doing these wheels on all their builds. It saved 23 pounds a corner over than the normal setup that he does. That's pretty significant. I think if I do another one of these Broncos, which I probably will someday, is I would want to do a V8 swap. I would have the entire thing painted And if I'm going to do that, you might as well go custom. I would do Brembos just because I can. Although you can't really see them behind the wheel, so probably not a worthwhile endeavor. We're going to leave that open because we're going to go knock that out. JC, what are you doing, buddy? JC has I haven't seen him yet, but he has a doppelganger down the street. There's another chase dog, another golden doodle just like him. I haven't seen him yet. He's got the visible fence as well, so he sits out with his collar, just chills on the driveway like Chase does and watches people go by. Tries to convince people to come pet him. I want to go see him. It must be Michelle in the driveway. Yeah, so I'd like to get, I think I'm going to get this wheel done, the wheels done today. We'll see. I mean, it's already 5 o'clock. Maybe I just won't do. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. We'll see. Let's just get this corner done. I kind of want to just sit down and chill tonight. Maybe watch a movie. I've been wire to wire every day for quite some time. Its finish on these wheels is really nice. But I mean, I figure if it takes an hour and a half each corner, I'll be done with this by 6:37. That'll be okay. You gonna coach your sir on this weekend, maybe?
Yes.
What kind of golf cart are we gonna get?
Electric.
I talked to the people.
Do we have room now? Not yet.
In a few weeks. Let's clean the suspension caliper. We'll coat that, sir. Oh shoot, this one's easier to get to. The front has a lot more going on, so. Yeah, they decided it was better to not disassemble. So the paint job isn't as good. I kind of wanted these disassembled and powder coated, but I don't know, George talked me out of it. And there's no fender liner to clean up under here, so yeah, this is only going to take a minute or two to just coat this section. My Dana 60. Okay, looks good. All right, so grab this. Coat this really fast. Although this is so porous, it's probably not going to do much. Especially since I can't really see it anyway. This you can see though. Let's just coat this puppy here. So the next step on this, I'm going to take it off-roading, go do some high-speed off-roading. We'll check the height. And then I gotta go find somewhere to align the thing. Talk to my guy at Porsche, see if he could possibly align it. The other thing, maybe I could talk to Colton on my CSM alignment system. Maybe I could make some sort of, I doubt it though. Should I coat this thing? Let's do it. Yeah, easy to do. So again, I'm using the high temp wheel coating, high solids, high temp wheel coating on all this stuff here. The other thing I'll do at the next wash, I will coat the, did I coat any of this? It's anodized, so it's not really going to do much. I'm just saying I will coat the exhaust with let's see, what will I use? Dr. Beasley's. This thing's sick, dude. Look at that. So I opted to not do the bypass shock. Just the main shock. Saved me like 15 grand or something like that. I don't know how well this will hold up anyway with the springs. You know, if I wasn't going to drive this thing, I would, I mean, again, my goal here is to go rip this thing around, drive it on road and off road. But if my goal was to just trophy truck, just trophy truck isn't the right word, to show truck it, then I would probably get under here and coat all this stuff, but just doing the kind of superficial here. Okay, let's put the wheel back on. And I got a nice little hang with you guys. There's still a, there we go. Okay, let's clear this out. Got some work to do here. This is the hard part. Okay, let's get this biggins back on here. So let's see if my process has gotten a little bit better here. You know, this hopefully will help you overcome your excuse. You don't get to put, you don't coat your wheels unless you take them off. Coating the face of them is a waste of time. Alright, so I'm going to put this in place. Roll it up on here, I think. Put that into position. Got to slide it up to it. the center cap back on, straighten this out. Okay, where are we? We're not quite rotated properly, so now what I do, kind of hold my ankles here and rotate it on the roller because it's beyond the size of the roller. And you kick it up. Where's my studs? If you had a smaller wheel, you'd be able to sit down here and see where the studs are. What the heck is going on here? Why is this not? Did my... Oh, that's why. I need to come up a little bit because I put this down lower. Come up a little bit on my jack. I put this further under. There's one stud. Oops. Rotate it a little bit and more. There we go. Almost. More. That's too far. Where are we? Which way am I rotated? There we go. All right. That's better. So without this thing, it would have taken me 3 people to get this sucker on here. With it, I can do it myself and slide it right into position. I just needed to rotate it a little bit more. This thing is worth every freaking penny. This is the little Koken socket or lug nut socket. Okay. Yeah, I think, let's see if it'll torque with it up in the air. I'm gonna have to torque it on the ground. So doing 105 foot-pounds. This is the Install Villa. This is the 730N/20. If you want one of these, hit me up. We have these. I think I have some of these in stock. It's freaking awesome. Boom. Not bad. So, check out this puppy. This thing's sick. All right, so I think that's a wrap on today's hang. I'm gonna do the other side, same thing, do the bumpers, and then we'll come back and do a hang when I polish the paint. Most of the polishing is to get out any kind of sanding, any pigtail sanding, because I think they did a lot of machine sanding. But I'm in love with this darn truck. I think it's freaking fantastic. So anyway, thanks for watching. More garage hangs coming. Got a lot to do. Got to get the Evo dialed. Got to get the M3 fuel injectors fixed. Got to get the back on the GT3 project, put the Dunn exhaust on, and get the leather dialed and interior dialed. I've got a lot of parts and pieces I want to buy for the GT3, but I didn't want to buy a bunch of stuff and be stressing out about it. I have the Dunn exhaust in the attic. Got to get that on before the next event. Going to do the turbo on the turbo wheel suspension on the Evo. And then by the time I get all that stuff done, the Amiras will be here. And then by the time I get those done, the GT4 RS will be here. So anyway, thanks for watching. See you soon. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. God, I gotta get better at this again. See you later.